It's incredibly rare to come across stories of children committing serious crimes, and even rarer when the crime is murder. Murder is such a brutal and unfathomable act that even the motives behind adult killers often remain a mystery. Trying to understand what could possibly drive a child to take a life is even more difficult. Sometimes, it might stem from something as seemingly trivial as a fight over toys, a flare of jealousy, or a petty disagreement. But other times, it's something far more disturbing, a deep, inexplicable urge, a chilling curiosity about what it feels like to kill. Hello again, it's me, and today, we're going to talk about a murder case from 2007. This may be one of the most brutal and horrifying cases I've ever come across. Because in this story, neither the victim nor the killer was even old enough to be considered an adult. Daniel Petry was born in 1991 in Santa Catarina, Brazil. From a young age, he had a reputation for being rebellious and extremely aggressive. He would often react with intense violence, even to the slightest provocation. Because of his behavior, his parents sent him to therapy sessions, but Daniel dropped out of treatment, and eventually he also quit school. At home, Daniel spent most of his time watching Brazilian TV shows, browsing the internet, and playing an online role-playing game called Tibia. It was in this virtual world that Daniel befriended a 12-year-old boy who lived nearby, a kid named Gabriel Kuhn. The two chatted often and became regular gaming companions. Gabriel's parents were kind, polite, and well-educated people. One day, Gabriel asked Daniel if he could borrow 20,000 coins, the in-game currency used in Tibia. Daniel agreed, but only on the condition that Gabriel would pay him back later. However, Gabriel broke that promise. Not only did he fail to return the borrowed coins, but he also blocked Daniel on all messaging and gaming platforms, cutting off contact completely. This made Daniel absolutely furious. That same day, at 9:30 in the morning, he called his mother, who was away in Nova Trento, and asked what time she'd be home. Once he knew how much time he had, Daniel went to Gabriel's house, knocked on the door, and asked if he could come in to apologize and make peace. Gabriel let him in. After all, they were still friends, or so he thought. That decision would be one Gabriel would tragically come to regret. Daniel immediately shut and locked the door behind him. Without hesitation, he launched into a violent and brutal assault on Gabriel, beating him mercilessly. At some point during the attack, Gabriel reportedly threatened to tell his parents everything once they returned home, to expose what Daniel had done. Not wanting that to happen, Daniel tried to silence him permanently. He attempted to kill Gabriel using a length of electrical cable. When the job was done, Daniel decided to hide Gabriel's body in a storage space in the hallway ceiling. However, when he tried to lift the body up, he realized it was too heavy for him to manage alone. He then went to the kitchen to get a knife and grabbed a hacksaw from the garage, hoping to reduce the weight of the body to make it easier to move. It's believed that Gabriel may have passed out from the shock during the ordeal. Daniel once again tried to push the body through the attic hatch to hide it, but he didn't have the strength. He ended up leaving the body partially inside, with the torso placed near the opening and the severed legs lying in the hallway. Next to the hacksaw, this horrifying scene unfolded right at the main entrance of the house. Shortly afterward, Gabriel's older brother came home. The moment he stepped inside, he fell to his knees, crying and calling out for their mother, begging for help. Another neighbor also saw the horrific scene and immediately alerted the authorities. When police arrived, they discovered an online chat between Daniel and Gabriel, in which the two had argued over the in-game debt. That conversation would later become a key piece of evidence in the investigation. Now that they knew who had entered the house and was responsible, Daniel was quickly arrested after openly admitting to the crime. He confessed everything without hesitation and without a hint of remorse. Police were stunned by the level of detail in Daniel's statement. He described every action, every step, and even his emotions during that afternoon with Gabriel. The only time Daniel showed any anger or raised his voice was when he furiously denied any suggestions or rumors regarding same-sex attraction. However, medical examiners concluded that Gabriel had been sexually assaulted multiple times, even more. Horrifying, they determined that Gabriel was still alive while Daniel was sawing off his legs, and ultimately died from blood loss and shock. Daniel was sent to a juvenile detention center and was sentenced in September. His punishment? Just 3 years, under the reasoning of social rehabilitation. When taken into custody, Daniel showed no remorse. Instead, he swore he would take revenge. When Judge Pereira asked Daniel if he had any remorse or wished to apologize to Gabriel's family, he responded, "Gabriel was a coward and a thief. He's burning in hell right now, the place I sent him to, and when I die, I'll find him in hell and finish my revenge." Judge Alvaro Luis Pereira de Andrade sentenced Daniel to 3 years in prison. Yes, you heard that correctly, and I've confirmed the details. 3 years in prison for such a brutal murder. It is truly unjust. If you look further, you'll find many other cases in Brazil that are equally irrational and unfair, all because of flaws in their legal system. Remember that 20,000 units of in-game currency that Gabriel owed Daniel? I always wondered if that amount was really so large that it made Daniel furious. And guess what? It's equivalent to just about 175 United States dollars at the time. After this incident, the global Tibia community reacted strongly. Some even quit the game entirely, fearing they might be branded as potential criminals simply for playing the same game as a murderer. Daniel himself said that the game drove him insane. Later, the Tibia system held a memorial in Gabriel's honor after serving his sentence and being released. There are no official records of Daniel's whereabouts. I tried searching online to find any information about him, but there's very little. This case happened in Brazil a long time ago, so it's hard to find anything. All I could locate were 2 photos claimed to be Daniel today, posted by a Spanish-speaking blogger, and some unverified details suggesting he might now have a wife and children. I used to play Tibia, a game with a huge player base from Brazil. They take it very seriously, almost as if it were real life. I remember back in 2003, when I was about 14, I was threatened by a teenager for losing my game account and unjustly blamed. It's truly unfortunate to witness such violent behavior erupt just because of something virtual that doesn't even exist. I am a player from Poland. This game was extremely popular where I live, especially during my middle school years. It demands high-level competition. Players take it very seriously, and death penalties in the game are harsh. Imagine a whole neighborhood full of kids all playing this game. I wouldn't be surprised if conflicts in the game spilled over into real life. Those are the words of a Reddit user about Tibia, the game where the conflict between Daniel and Gabriel began. If any parents happen to watch this video, I hope they won't hastily ban their children from playing games or going online just because of negative news. I'm actually someone who really enjoys playing games, and there was a time when I was addicted to gaming. But games have helped me a lot in life. Most of my language skills actually come from playing games. Plus, there are also games that give us skills like critical thinking, reasoning, and quick reflexes. However, games do have their downsides. When their appeal is too strong, they can lead players to addiction, causing them to play without balance or control. But everything has its dark side, right? Too much of anything isn't good. What matters most is maintaining a balance between your passion, your interests, and everything else in life. This is something I hope young people can understand and use to grow in a better direction. Asterisk. That's all for this video. Feel free to leave a comment below if you want to discuss more. If you enjoyed this video, please help me out by liking and sharing it. And for now, I wish you all a great day.